All right, so welcome. We are recording right now. What you should see on your screen right now are sample IDs. Now, like I said before, I was not able to find any valid ones, so we're going to put the expiration date for all of these IDs to be 2024. The journal pages that I sent you guys are out of the journal, Modern Journal for Notarial Acts. If you're interested in purchasing that, I do have it listed on my website, along with the journal that I also created. So whichever one you guys would be interested in, you can go ahead and go on there and purchase that for yourself. Okay, if you don't already have a journal. Let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to be starting on the first document, which is going to be the United States Postal Service application for delivery of mail through agents. You guys all have that document?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
So on the screen, I have the identification of the person who this document is coming from or belongs to. Okay. This is Connor Sample. So he contacts you, lets you know, hey, I'm getting a virtual mailbox and I needed to get this document signed by a notary. Okay, so you guys go over the terms of the service. You agree upon a fee, a time, and date to meet. Okay, now you get the application. I want you guys to look over the application and let me know what you see on there that you know that you have to do, what you have to fill in, and what he has to fill in, if anything. Meanwhile, let me see if I can open up what I had sent you guys. File open. Let's see if I have it. I think this is from yesterday. Let's see if this is the one. Nope, that's not the one. I think it's this one. Nope, that's not it either. I know I scanned it and sent it to you guys. Hmm. I don't know where well, in any event, do you guys see where your part is needed for this document? Because first off, you want to review the identification. You're going to review the form and see what you need for the form. If you guys have the forms and you scroll down right below where he put Connor Foods and then he put Pack Mail is going to be the agent, and you look under his name, Connor Sample, you will notice that there are two types of identification that are required. And it tells you what the identification must include. And then at the bottom of A and B, it tells you the acceptable identifications that you can take. Okay. So I want you guys to read both of those and I want you to be familiar with that because you are going to come across this a lot more with businesses being virtually working from home. A lot of them are applying for virtual mailboxes and they are needing to get this document signed and notarized by a notary. Is there anything else that you guys notice on the document that's missing?
The signature of the agent at the bottom, line 15.
Correct. But that's the only part where you see that you are supposed to sign, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Are you supposed to?
Now, as a notary, you know that you are not allowed to notarize a document without actually having notarial certificate, right?
Yes.
Oh my God, I have it upside down. That's not going to help. Oh my goodness. Okay, everything is upside down, guys. So I'm just going to go out of there. Okay, so we need a notarial certificate in order to notarize this document, okay? Now, if you look on the document, you notice that there are not any identifying terms to let you know what type of notarial certificate that he needs. So what would be your next step in getting this document notarized for him?
Request
Asking
which
him.
document it is.
You want to ask him what type of notarization he wants, and you want to explain to him the differences between the two. The most common forms of notarization types that we perform is what?
Acknowledgement.
Correct. Acknowledgement and jurat. So you explain the differences of the two to him, okay? So that he can choose. Now, he doesn't know, even after you explain to him the different types. So now what is your next step? What do you do then? If he doesn't know which type of notarization he wants for this document or he needs for this document.
Refer him to the post office.
The receiving party for this document needs to tell him what type of notarization they want. Okay, so he's going to call the receiving party. He's going to ask them what type of notarization do they want for the document. Okay. They tell him we need an acknowledgement for the document because we need for you to acknowledge that that is your actual signature on there. Perfect. He tells you that he needs an acknowledgement. So you go ahead and hopefully you have blank copies of certificates in your notary bag. You reach into your notary bag and you grab a acknowledgement. Now that you have everything that you need, let's go ahead and review the ID. And you're going to go to your, you're going to go to your journal page. Okay. You're going to review the ID. You see the issue date, the expiration date is going to be 1/12/2024. Okay. So you're going to proceed to fill out your journal with the ID that you have. You see that it is his ID. It's valid. You always want to ask them if that's the correct address on there because sometimes people will have an ID and they've moved and they haven't updated their address. So you want to at least make sure that you're writing the correct address into your journal for him. He tells you, yes, everything is correct on my ID. And so you go ahead and say, okay, and you proceed to fill it out. Now, if I can go ahead and switch my screen here. Hold on just a second.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
So if he doesn't have a valid address on his ID, is that considered valid ID?
Yes, it is.
Even though it's not expired?
Yes, it is. Yep. It happens all the time. People will have an ID and they do not have it updated. Especially with the pandemic, people are having to make appointments to get their address changed. So what if he's waiting? What if, the appointment's not till 6 weeks out, you're going to turn him away because of an address? So no, we're not going to do that. We're going to just make sure that we have the correct information for him in here. He does have a valid identification, but he moved. What if he moved yesterday? You're not going to be able to get the new ID until you have documentation of your new address anyway. Then you got to make the appointment and then you got to go to the DMV or Secretary of State, whichever office is in your state, to get a brand new ID. So no, we're not going to turn them away for the address being incorrect on their ID. Are you guys able to see my screen where I'm writing? Do you see my journal page?
No.
No.
See image mate.
Okay, hold on. I'm trying to show you guys this here. Let's see. Okay, let's see. Oh, here it is. Okay. There we go. All right, let me know when you guys can see my journal page.
Can see it.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Okay. So with the ID information that we had, see, I wanted you guys to see both screens. This is not going to work the way I wanted it to. Okay. Let me see if I can maybe squeeze it in. No, you know what I'm going to do? I know what I'm going to do. I'll just have to show the entire screen. I won't be able to see the chat though. So let's do that. Because I need you guys to see everything that I'm doing. Okay. All right. So let's pull this back up here. Okay. I'm going to minimize it. Okay.
And my
and
screen was black.
I'm sorry?
Oh, now it's back. It had just like, it was black. I couldn't see what you were doing there, but it's back.
Oh, okay. All right. Sorry, guys. If I had two screens, it would be a lot better, but I don't have two screens. Okay. Where is my image screen at? Let's see. I want you guys to see the ID information here. Okay. So you guys go ahead with seeing the ID, go ahead and fill out your journal entry. Okay. Your notarization date and time is going to be today's date and whatever time it is right now. The date of the document, if you're looking, it does have today's date on there. So you're going to go ahead and write today's date. It does not have a reference number. And I don't know what the fees are in your state, but this is a general notary. So you're going to charge whatever it is that you could charge in your state. So that's what's going to be your fee. If I could find my screen here. I wonder if I closed it out by mistake. So I don't know where the screen is. So you guys can see recording live. Oh, there we go. Okay. Okay. And let's pull him back up. All right, now we got them both. Sheesh. Okay. So I said notarization date 5/16/2021. And guys, remember, you always want to put 2021. You don't want to put 21 for the date. Okay. And then we're going to put the time 12/18. I write terrible. So, yeah, let's ignore that. The fees here in Florida are $10. Like I said, this is a general notary act, so that's what I charge. If you're not in an office and you're traveling, some states can charge a travel fee. My state is one that can charge a travel fee. So in the additional information box you see at the end, I could put travel fee. Charge was $10. Okay. The description of the document that you're going to be notarizing is going to be whatever the title of this document is. So it's an application for delivery of mail through agent. Okay. It is, oh, you know what? Here, you can abbreviate it. You could put here PS form 1583. So you could put a USPS PS form 1583. You know, if you don't want to write out this whole title here. Okay, so that's what I will put. I will put USPS. Oh, I'm sorry. If you go over here, you see this box up here where it says other, you want to check it. And I don't know if you guys can see, it says A or J. A or J stands for acknowledgement or jurat. We're going to be doing an acknowledgement. So I'm going to go ahead and check that as well. Other has an arrow pointing down to this box, so you can put in the title and it will know that this is the type of form that you did today. PS form 1583. Okay. So that's for the first part of the form. Now, nobody asked me yet, and I don't know if it's in the chat because I'm not looking. Am I filling out my journal first? You always want to fill out your journal first before you start notarizing any documents, guys. Okay. Because what if you've notarized a document, then a person's like, okay, thank you, and they're leaving and they don't want to fill out the journal. Get your journal filled out first, then you proceed to notarize the document. Okay. Now that we've done that first page, now we're going to go over. Now, in the journal, it's going to be side by side like this. So you're not going to be having to turn any pages. Okay. But because I have copies, we're just going to have to go to the second part, and we're going to stay in this first section here because this is the same entry number as the one we were filling out before. Now you're going to put the signer's name and address. Okay. So his name is Connor. Sample. Let me move this over. Address 123 North Main Street. Apartment 1. North Quincy. Massachusetts. And then we got 02171. Okay. Then it says method of identification used. Okay, we identify him using satisfactory evidence. We can go ahead and check that box. And we use his driver's license. Okay. And then we're going to have him sign and apply his right thumbprint here. Okay. So I could just scribble there. Boom, boom, boom. There's a thumbprint. Okay. So now you're done. You're done with your journal entry. Now you're going to go back to your document here. Now on the document, like I said before, if you noticed, number 8 for A and B, it says that the agent has to fill that in. That's why it's blank. Remember, you always want to review your document and make sure that there are no blanks that require the person to fill in. Okay. Now it says this authorization is extended to mail for undersigned. They don't have that filled out. You're going to ask them why. He's going to say, that's the part I didn't need to fill in because I don't have any restrictions on delivery mail. Okay. Have him at least draw a line through it. Okay. Not you, him. Now, you look below here, name of firm or corporation is empty. He is not a firm or corporation. He's just a business. Okay. A small business. So his business address is the same as this address here. Okay, so that's why he left that blank. So, okay, since you left that blank, can you go ahead and put a line through it? Okay, he put a line through here. He already put lines through here. Okay, he has this filled in and he did sign. Now it's perfectly fine that he signed because it's an acknowledgement. But if this was a jurat, that would be a different story. You would have him, he needs to sign in front of you for a jurat. Okay, he can simply line through it, put his initials and today's date, and sign it again. Okay, that's perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Now it's an acknowledgement, like I said, so it's perfectly fine that he signed that. You have to sign here. Okay, but because this does not have any of the notarial wording on it, you can sign it, but you want to put see attached certificate for the rest of it because they're going to be looking for a notarization. Okay, so you can go ahead and assign, see attached certificate. Okay.
Can I ask a question?
Yes. What question?
So in the event that the line is too small, can you just write see attached in the notary area?
Yes. Because you're going to be signing the certificate. The certificate is a part of this. If the certificate is not attached, this is an incomplete document. Okay. And don't forget to, I'm not going to fill it in, but you guys, I do want you to fill it in for practice. Okay. So the first one you have is state ID. Let me know that you got it, and then I can go ahead and scroll to the other form of identification that he produced.
I have two questions.
Sure.
With the ID, do we need to write out the driver's license number?
Yes.
And also, if they produce a social security, we also write that number out?
Well, you want to make sure that you read. The most important part of your job will be to read. Okay. If you read on here, it's said that social security cards are not available. I mean, are not acceptable.
Now I see. Oh, okay. Okay. I see.
Always read, always got to
Okay.
read, honey, because if you don't read, you're going to make a mistake. So that's why I gave you guys the time. Please read this document. This is just a sample today, but you're going to be introduced. I mean, this is going to come up in one of your notary duties, and you're going to want to know how to fill this out. And there's a lot of verbiage on here. So you want to make sure you're reading, so you make sure that you don't do anything that they don't want you to do.
Okay. All right. And the other thing is back on the journal, you're
Yes.
saying put a thumbprint, but in Florida, we don't require a thumbprint. Is that right?
We don't require it, but you still want to ask. And if they refuse, you can still notarize for them. The
Okay.
thumbprint is just a added security on our end. Because if for some reason we have to produce this journal entry to court, sometimes just going off the signature is not enough. So you having that thumbprint, yeah, this is the person that signed that document because we verified the thumbprint and that matches him. I have yet to have a person tell me that they don't want to do the thumbprint. And I have had several people ask me why. And when I explain to them that way, they say, oh, okay, that makes sense. And they just go ahead and do it.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome. Where did I leave off? Okay, so guys, fill out your A and your B. Okay, we have the driver's license that he produced, and he also produced a U.S. passport. Okay, so I'm gonna let you guys go ahead and fill in the driver's license part.
And in the driver's license part again, it's just the number.
No, so what you're gonna be putting, I'm sorry, what you're gonna put is you're gonna put MA driver's license, and then you're gonna put the ID number below it.
Okay.
This is going in block A.
Yes.
Okay.
B for the address when filling out the
No.
journal.
For the address
Mhm.
on the journal, it does say here, signer name and address. So you want to put exactly what it is your journal's asking for.
Like said, their ID is not updated. Do we take their verb where they're at or just put what's on the ID for the address?
So you always want to ask the person if the address on their ID is their current address, because you want to only put current information into your journal. Sometimes a person can be to move and they haven't updated their address on their ID. I know during the pandemic, we have to make appointments to go to the DMV. So I was living in my new house for 4 weeks before I was able to change my address on my ID. So you don't want to turn a person away or say their ID is not valid for an address being incorrect, because sometimes they haven't been able to get up there. What if they're working? They're not able to get to it. So just ask all the time, is this the current address on your ID? Oh, no, it's not. You know what? just moved and I didn't get a chance to update that. And that's fine.
Okay, thank you.
hmm
B, do we need to include the expiration date as well?
On the USPS form, no. In your journal, yes.
I'm sorry, what was the question?
The question was, does she need to put the address that's on the ID into the journal?
And you said yes or no?
Yes, yes, you do. But you always
Okay.
want to ask them if that's a current address, because sometimes it may not be their current address. They may not have updated the address on their ID. In this case, he said yes, his current address is the one on his ID, so that's the one you want to use. You guys ready for the passport now?
One more question, for the
Yes.
license on the journal, are you putting that there as well, or is it just on the application itself?
Yes, you do have to put what form of identification was produced. So here, where it says under methods of identification, you're going to
Yeah.
put identity established, a driver's license. You're going to put the driver's license type. Oops. Well, yeah, you could just spell it out. I can't spell today, obviously. And then you want to put the ID, which, oh, I was going to say it's not on here. Yes, it is. It's 999-888-01. And then you want to put the issue date and the expiration date, guys, okay? So we have issue. Oh, shoot. I'm putting his birthday. Issue date is 1/12/2016. And then we're going to have expiry date, which is, and I told everybody to make sure they put everybody's ID expires 2024 because I wasn't able to find any valid IDs for this sample. Are you guys able to see where I filled out the journal entry?
Yes.
Okay. And
Yeah.
sorry, I didn't fill that out before. But yes, you definitely want to include the identification information in there. All right, let's go to the passport. And the passport information is needed for the form that you're notarizing. So in B, you're going to put his passport, okay? And the type is a U.S. passport. And then you're going to put the passport ID information. And of course, it would make more sense. I signed it before, but it would make more sense for you to fill this information out and then sign it, the attached certificate, and then you're going to fill out your certificate, which is an acknowledgement, because that's what he said that they wanted. Okay. Now, because you guys are performing these notarial acts from your home, I want you to use the county where you are right now. Remember, the county is always wherever you are at the time that you're doing the notarization. So for this sample, you're at home, so use your county from home.
I have a question.
Okay, are you guys done with the passport now?
One moment.
Okay.
I don't know why, but I don't have all of the documents.
You don't have what now? What'd you say?
Yeah,
I'm sorry, I don't have all of the documents that you
You don't have
that
all?
you, no, I don't
Did
have
you
all
send
of
the
the documents.
acknowledgement or was that something we were supposed to?
Nope. That is something that I want you guys to already have because
Okay.
that is something that you're supposed to have in your notary
Oh,
bag.
okay.
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 I have a question.
Yes.
I noticed on the AAN, the website, that they have
Yes.
the acknowledgement stamp and the actual direct stamp. Is that acceptable
It is,
in the way of the
but
paper?
it is, but in this situation, you would have to have a blank piece of paper to apply the stamp to, because as you can see, there's no room
There's no room.
for you
Okay.
to apply it to that, and you cannot apply it to the back of the document.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, I have the certificate stamps too, but I still end up having to have these loose certificates for situations like this. Now, if there's enough room on the document, I can use my stamp and that's perfect. But if there's not enough room, then unfortunately I have to go ahead and apply a loose certificate. I was trying to get away from having to have this at all, but I'm like, dang, I can't get away from having it. But I've come across some notarizations where they don't allow me to do this, to attach a loose certificate, and they want the wording on the actual document. So that's why I ended up getting those certificate stamps. Okay, guys, so I filled out my acknowledgement after filling out the form. Okay. Like I said, you should have blank copies of your acknowledgements and jurats in your bag. If you don't have blank copies, they're very easy to come by. You just go on your state website, and it's usually somewhere in the handbook. Now, it's not literally the document itself. You would have to create the document. So what you would have to do is copy and paste the wording that they said is acceptable, put it onto a Word document, add your venue at the top. All you gotta do is type in the venue at the top, and then you know, type in anything else that's missing, like it may be a signature line missing for the person and yourself. Just type the stuff in. It's very easy and it's free. So you don't have to be, oh, where can I buy them? You don't have to buy them. Just go on your state website and copy and paste. Everybody should know how to do a Word document. Just go ahead and do it like that. So this certificate that I have is from the National Notary Association. And the reason why I have it is because I'm a member with them and I get free access to it. So I just have a bunch of them printed out. But this is what I filled out here. So I did my venue. I'm in Broward County in Florida. They were physically present. Okay, so this was not acknowledged before me in the physical presence, not online. So I checked the physical presence box. Let me move this pencil out the way. Okay, there we go. The name of the person acknowledging is my signer. It's not me. I'm not acknowledging his signature. He's acknowledging his own signature. So I put his name, signature of Notary Public. That's my signature. I print my name. And for Florida, we specifically have to have this little section here. So he was not personally known to me. I identify him from identification that he produced, and he produced his driver's license. So I put the state driver's license, and you want to spell it out. You don't want to abbreviate driver's license or passport or whatever type of identification he used. Now I had someone tell me that someone told them that we're supposed to write the person's ID number here as well. No, we're not writing ID numbers on certificates, okay? We're just writing what type of identification was produced, because that's what it says. It doesn't say type of identification produced an ID number. It only asks me for the type that he produced, and that's what I put. You also will see here there's an optional section, and it is optional. It does not have to be here, but it does help to prevent people from attaching your loose certificate to any document they please. So I put the title of the document, I put the date of the document, and the number of pages is going to be the document plus your certificate. So if they came to you with 5 documents and then you attach a certificate, it will be 6. But it's just one document in my certificate, so I put that as 2 documents. Okay. You guys have any questions about this first notarization we did?
No.
All right, we're moving on. All right, notarization number 2. We're going to be doing our quick claim deed. So go ahead and pull that up. Okay, for the quick claim deed, the person's name on here is who? Janice. So let me find Janice here. All right. So Janice contacts you. She says she has a quick claim deed that she needs notarized. Now, here in the state of Florida, we require 2 witnesses. The notary can also be a witness. But the tricky part about this is you cannot notarize your own signature. Okay. So if I sign this document, I cannot notarize it as well. So unfortunately, I will not be able to be one of the witnesses. They will have to produce 2 witnesses. Okay. And so they did. I do have copies of 2 other people. So we're going to use, well, 3. So we're going to use 2 of the 3 of these people that you see for our witnesses today. Okay. So first off, we're going to confirm that Janice's ID, well, let me go back. Once you guys explain the terms, she tells you she has the witnesses. Okay. Make sure you tell them, make sure you guys have valid identification. And then you tell her the fee that you're going to charge. And then you guys meet up and bam, here we go. All right. Let me go ahead and see you guys' IDs. First person ID I need to see is Janice, because Janice is the person who is who contacted me to notarize the document. You're going to verify Janice's ID. Okay, Janice, is the address current on your ID? Yes, it is. Okay, perfect. All right, I see the expiration 8/5/2024. My issue date October 5th, 2016. Okay, perfect. Now let's go ahead and verify the witnesses. Okay, let's use him. Wait, is it him? Wait, hold on, wait. I think it's him in the, okay, no, we're not gonna, it's him in the document. So we're gonna use these 2 here. Okay, so here's our first witness. You're gonna verify her ID. You're gonna answer the same exact questions. Everything checks out. We're gonna look at the next witness ID. Answer the same exact question. Everything checks out. Everybody has valid identification. Perfect. Now, what if you come across a scenario where their IDs are not current? You would either need them to produce another form of valid identification, or we will have to use credible witnesses. The credible witnesses cannot be anybody who's in this document, anybody who has a beneficial interest. So it cannot be Janice, and it cannot be Parker. And actually, let me go back. Some states are different. For my state, it has to be a credible witness. It has to be 2 credible witnesses, I'm sorry. In some other states, it may have to only be 1. So I don't know the rules of your state if you're not in Florida, but if you're in Florida, we need 2 credible witnesses, okay? So
I'm sorry for interrupting. And do
Yes.
those witnesses have to be over 18?
Yes.
Thank you.
And they cannot have any beneficial interest in the document. Okay. So unfortunately, we only have one other person that can identify the person who does not have a beneficial interest in this document. So we would not be able to use them as a witness, and we would have to get somebody else. But for this training, everybody's information checks out, so we're fine. We don't have to go through that. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to fill out a bunch of journal entries, unfortunately. So before you do that, though, make sure you go ahead and go through your document. Okay, make sure there's no blank spaces, because I would hate for you to have to fill out your journal only to find out that this document is incomplete. You're like, oh my God, did all this work. So go through your document first, okay? Make sure everything checks out. Okay, looks like everything is good. Okay, now we're going to proceed to fill out our journal. First person we're going to be filling out the journal entry. Oh, let me move this. Journal entry for is Janice. Okay. Okay. So let's go ahead and do it. So today's date, 5/16/2021. Time is 12:46 p.m. The date of the document. You can look. Let's see. The document is not dated. So we're going to assume that today's date is going to be the document date. Okay. And you're going to charge whatever fee. In Florida, we charge $10 per document being notarized. So it's going to be $10, and then I'm going to charge my travel fee. Now, what if she contacted you and she didn't have any witnesses? You can provide witnesses for her, and you can also charge for it. So if I have to produce 2 witnesses, that's $15 a piece. So then I'm going to put in my additional information here that I also provided witnesses and what that fee was, but I'm not doing that. She has her own. So I'm just going to put my travel fee was the $10. Okay. And then I think there's a quick claim. Yeah. So here's a quick claim deed. Okay. So you can underline that. Okay. And then is it an acknowledgement or jurat? Let's look and see. It's an acknowledgement. If you can see right there in the notarial wording, it says acknowledge before me. So we know that this is an acknowledgement. So we can go ahead and check off acknowledgement where it says deed here. Okay. And QC stands for quick claim. So you can either circle, underline, or you can leave it alone and just cross out the W and the G, whichever way you feel is best for you, as long as they know that it was a quick claim deed that was notarized today. Okay, let's go to the next page. Okay, and we're gonna put signer name and address here. Is what it's asking for. So we have Janice and sample. You want to put all names that you see on there, okay, guys? 1, 2, 3 Main Street, apartment 1. Then we got Harrisburg. God, my writing is terrible. Pennsylvania, 17101. Okay, she identified herself by establishing satisfactory evidence. It was a driver's license, and I'm going to put the driver's license information. So we have, where's her ID number? Okay, it's all those 9s at the top. Okay. Where's my other? So we got PA, driver's license, and then we have the ID number 9999999. And we have issue date 10/5/16, and then we have expiration is, we're going to put 8/5/2024. Okay, guys. All right. Now we're going to have her sign. Ask for the right thumbprint. And then you guys should be done with that part. Now we have to do another entry for our other person. Okay. Our other person in the document is Stanley Sample Parker. Or is it Parker Stanley Sample? Let's see how I put it in here. Yeah, his first name is Parker. Okay, see here. Parker as Sample. Okay. So our next entry here, I'm going to do the same thing that we did for Miss Janice. Okay.
I have a question for you, and I know I was
Sure.
late coming onto the call, but
Sure.
so with our journal entries, we always put the right thumbprint in for
It
everybody.
depends on what state you're in, because I
Okay.
know in Texas you're not allowed to do that. In
Mm.
Florida, it's not required, but we can ask, and it is best practice to ask. If the person refuses, that's perfectly fine. We could just put somewhere in our notes, refused thumbprint or whatever, and then we could proceed with the notarization. So it just depends on the state.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, let's see. Where is I at? Okay. Document date. And the fee. Now, because I'm charging just $10 for the whole thing, my fee is going to be $0 for everybody else. I already put my fee in the first person's entry. Okay. Now, in some states, it's $10 per signature. So then not $10 per, is your state fee per signature. So you can put the fee in every entry that you do, but in my state, that's not the case. It's $10 per notarial act. The only notarial act I'm going to be performing is one. And I don't have to put a travel fee for them either. So it's no additional note I need to add for that. Okay, his name is Parker. Stanley Sample. 123 West State Street. Boise, Idaho. That's at 83703. Gosh, my writing is terrible, guys. Got Idaho. Driver's license. And the ID number is. See, I hate when I get IDs from other states because I'm always trying to figure out, well, where's the ID number? It's like, everybody's IDs are different. So you have to really examine it. So I guess the ID number is this TC at the top. And you know what? If you are unsure like me, you can always ask. People don't mind. They know that everybody's IDs, every state is different. I'm from Michigan and I currently live in Florida. So those are the IDs that I know how to read. And I used to live in Ohio too. So I guess I know how to read that one too. But other states, I'm just kind of looking like, what? Okay. So done with that person. Are you guys done with Parker?
Well, I have a question about Parker because they don't have they do have the issue date. I'm sorry, because I don't have a copy of these driver license, and I'm trying to look at what you have on the screens, and it's kind of hard to see. So, okay, I see it now.
Okay.
Here, the issue date and expiration date. Okay, sorry.
Okay.
I have a question.
Mhm.
So when you said that if they did not have a witness and you are able to provide two witnesses,
Mhm.
would you just provide
any two, like, how does that work? You just provide any two people that you know, and they come in and look at the ID and say, okay, everything on here is basically copacetic. So they would sign off as their witnesses, or like, how
Yep,
does that work?
that's exactly how that works.
Okay.
They're just witnessing that this person is who they say they are. And some
Okay.
people are not going to feel comfortable doing that. Like,
So would
nah,
you,
I don't know them. So,
right. So would you be able to, so say someone comes and they don't have a witness, so you provide your two witnesses. Could that
mhm.
be like two people that live in your household, or
Yep,
is
I
that
use my
okay?
husband and my mom.
Okay.
Yep, as long as they're over the age of 18 and
Okay.
they themselves have valid identification, because they got to have valid identification too. If they don't have valid identification, I can't use them as a witness.
Okay. Okay. Perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome. You guys done with Parker? You can go to the
Yes.
two witnesses. Okay,
Yes.
let's go to the witness. We have our witness one, Karen Elizabeth Sample. Oops, sorry. Let me go to my first page here. Okay, we're doing a quick claim deed, acknowledgement, and I don't have any additional notes. Or you know what? You can put an additional note here. You can put this person was a witness. So let's see. Parker's not the witness. So Karen is the witness. You could put witness number one, or you can just put witness in your documents. Okay. In your notes, I mean. So we have Karen. Elizabeth. Now this is funny. They have SR. Is that, I guess that would be for senior. So her daughter must have her name as well. Which that does happen. I do know some people who have their child named after them, and that's a woman. Have their daughter named after them. So
I have
that's
a
not
question.
odd. Okay.
I have a question about the witnesses. So you said that some people don't feel comfortable if you provide your own witness. At that point, are they able to see if they can get two witnesses of their own?
No, I didn't say that. I said some people don't feel comfortable being a witness to
Oh,
a
okay.
person, because they're literally signing saying that this person is who they say they are. Some
Okay.
people will do it and some people won't. If they refuse, and if that person can't produce their own witnesses, then the notarization is null and void. You can't perform it.
Okay.
Mm.
Thank you.
Topeka, Kansas. 2. Okay. Driver's license. Driver's license. Yeah. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Issue. And expiration is. Okay, we got one more person. Okay, you guys are done with Karen?
Yes.
Okay, let's move up here. And then our next witness is Jane Q. Public. Okay, we have Jane Q public address 1, 2, 3, 4 Main Street, Springfield, Illinois 62723. This is why I'm using a pencil. Okay. License. P1, 4, issue date 1/16. Expiration 14/2024. All right, we are finally done. Oh my God, my wrist hurts. Finally done recording everybody's ID. Excuse me. All right, so once you guys are all done recording your journal entries, now we can go back to our form. Okay. You examine the form already. You know that there are not any blanks. So we're going to go ahead and turn it over. We have the witnesses' signatures and information. They have to fill this out. Okay. You're going to have the witness 1 fill it out, witness 2 fill out their information. Okay. Once that's complete, I want you guys to go ahead and fill out your notarial certificate. And you know what I forgot to ask? Are you guys using your stamps to stamp your document so it can kind of feel like as real as possible?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So I'm going to go ahead and fill this out. Florida County of Broward. I, the undersigned, a notary public in and for said county and said state, hereby certify that blank, whose names are assigned to the foregoing instrument and who is known to me, acknowledged before me on this day, that being informed of the contents, blah, 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 they execute the same volunteer. Now, you're going to have to put everybody's names in here. Okay, because you're acknowledging everybody's signatures. So I'm not going to write it, but I do want you guys to, so you can be familiar with this. So I'm just gonna put for my own records, see above, but you will put, or maybe I'll just put all names since I'm recording this, but got to try to fit them in there, unfortunately. So we have Janice A. Sample. And then who are the other people? We have
Parker, Stanley, Sample, Janet,
Parker.
and
Now for some reason Parker's signature is not on here. I didn't know. Now he is the grantee. Okay, Janice was the grantor. He is the grantee. I didn't see a space for grantee. It just says grantor. So would I put his name if he didn't sign?
No.
Okay. So then we're going to proceed with the witnesses' names. I'm going to put Karen. I'm going to have to abbreviate because I don't have enough room. Karen E. Sample and Jane Q. Public. Whew, I did it. So given under my hand this 16th day of May 21, Notary Public. Signed here. My commission expires. I'm just gonna put 1/1/2024, and then you have plenty of space there to go ahead and stamp.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
So I'm not sure if never done a quit claim deed before. So if there's a quit claim deed in Michigan, would the wording down here, the certificate, the notary wording, certificate wording, be compliant with Michigan? Or does it
I don't know.
let's say this person
It does need
wasn't,
to be.
you said it does?
Yep, it does need to be. And I don't know which your certificate wording would be specifically because I wasn't a notary in Michigan. I'm just born and raised there. But if for some reason this does not match, then you would strike a line through. You put the date and initials, and you would put see attached certificate, and then you would fill out an acknowledgement because as we can see right here, this is an acknowledgement. Okay, and then we are all done with that notarization. Did you guys have any questions about that one?
Yes, I have a question. So being that Parker isn't signing, is it necessary that he's present?
Yes. Everybody whose name is in the document does need to be present for a quit claim deed. I don't know why his name isn't, why he isn't signing. This is a sample that I put off the internet. I would assume that it would have grantor. Let me put this back on the screen. I would assume it would have grantor and grantee there. He probably should be signing here because if this getting quit claim to him, you understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
So I don't know. But I would assume that he would have to actually sign there because his name is there and it's being quit claim to him. So he would have to sign acknowledging that he's taking that on, right? Because there's money involved too. So that's a good question.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I have not notarized a quit claim deed. Every time I'm called, they never have any witness. Like people call me and they don't know anybody. And it's like I could provide one, but at the time, either my mom wasn't available or my husband wasn't available. So at the time, only one of them was available and they needed it done like that day. Now, if it's a weekend, I can provide both witnesses, but if it's during the week, my husband and my mom both work and they have different hours. So if they can't wait till the weekend where I can have both of them available, then they're going to have to provide one of their own witnesses and I can provide one of mine. Now, what they did do is they had called another notary, which is perfectly fine. They were going to have the other notary come and witness, but my husband wasn't available. So it was like, we still only got the one and I couldn't witness my own signature. So it's always going to be something like that. But like I said, I don't know about any other state, but Florida, as far as notary goes, I only know what people tell me when I'm doing training. So in some states, they don't need 2 witnesses, like here in Florida. So it just depends.
B, for documents that don't have the document date, is it okay to use like the current day like we did for today's date?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Because some of them don't have a date because you're supposed to put the date. But then you have some of them that do have a date there, so you just want to put the document date. So it's either or. If you look and see there's no date, then you are to assume today's date will be the document date.
Okay. And then the $15 that you charge them for not having witnesses, I know you're in Florida. Is that what you the state allows you, or you're able to set your own fee?
I'm able to set my own fee for that.
Okay. And that would probably vary by state, correct, as well?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. You guys ready to move on to our last notarization?
Yes.
All right. So this last one we have is for it's a statement of consent. So in order for you to have a minor's passport to apply for it, both parents, if they are if they both have custody, if they're both alive, they both have to consent to getting that child's passport. So this is a consent because one parent is present and the other parent won't be present. Okay. So a person, let me see who I use Miss Public here. So Jane contacts you, hey, I need to do a consent so I can apply for a passport for my kid. But I won't be available to do it. So his dad is going to get it done. Okay, that's fine. For this, I usually ask for the parent's identification and I ask for a birth certificate. Now, I don't believe that it's required that you do that, but it does make me feel better knowing that I'm signing off on the parent that's the actual parent of the child. So I have them produce their ID and the child's birth certificate. Okay. So she calls, she's like, okay, we discuss the terms and the fees. She agrees, and then we meet up. She produces her ID. I check her ID. Is the address listed on your ID current? Yes, it is. Okay, perfect. Everything checks out. It expires November 14th, 2024. I check the child's birth certificate. James Public is the dad, and Jane Q Public is the mother. Perfect. Everything checks out. I go ahead and I scan the form, make sure there are no blanks. And I see the only thing blank is my notarial certificate. Okay. So now that I've viewed the document, let me go ahead and fill out my journal entry. Okay. So the document date. Let's see what she put on here. All right. She actually put on here the 16th. Okay. So I'm going to put today's date. So go ahead and fill out your journal. Put the time. Document date is today. Charging $10. All right. You can look on here. That's probably not going to be one of the check boxes. So I'm going to check other. If you want to know if it's acknowledgement or jurat, you just want to look at what it says on here. Whose name is subscribed to and acknowledged. Okay, so this is acknowledgement. And I'm going to put other, and it's going to be statements of consent, passport for child, U.S. passport for child or minor or whatever. I hope I put this on the wrong. Let me see. For the witness. I'm going to erase this. I'm going to put it in an empty spot. It's supposed to be up here. One is two. Okay. All right. So going to my next part here. I'm going to go ahead and put Jane's information. Jane Q. Public. 34 Main Street. Springfield, Illinois. 627. Oops. 723. Okay, she showed me a driver's license. Ugh, hate my writing. All right. P1 42 5724. Okay. Issue date 2016. Expiration is going to be 11/14/2024. She signs. I ask for a fingerprint. All right. All right, guys. Now we're gonna. Are you done with your journal entry?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, perfect. Now you're gonna look here. Okay. Now, if you guys see here where it says important, it says you must submit a clear photocopy of the front and back of the ID presented to the notary. The date you sign the form must be the same date that the notary signs the form. Okay. So in this case, the document date would have to be the exact. So that's what I was meaning before. Some documents are going to state specifically that it has to be the same anyway. So if you notice that, what if this was a different date? You're going to have them correct that. Okay, they're going to strike a line through, put their initials and date, and then they're going to put the correct date because it has to match your date. That's why you definitely want to make sure you read these documents before you notarize them. Please read them. Okay, so we're going to look here on the date specified above and below. The affiant listed above, who is not related to me, personally appeared before me and is known to me to be the person whose name is subscribed to and acknowledge that she. We have a verb here, so we need to acknowledge that. You draw a line through he, it's she. Executed the same for the uses and purposes therein contained. I have properly verified the identity of the affiant by personally viewing the below notated identification document and matching photocopy. Okay. Now I want to look and see, because you want to read this because you want to see if you're able to attach a loose certificate. Some documents will specifically tell you that you are not allowed to attach any other notarial wording. So don't just automatically assume because, oh, well, I don't see my wording, that you can attach a certificate. Okay. Be mindful of that and read. So let's see. Use of this form. Important. Sign the statement, the date. This form can also be used to authorize a third party to apply. Okay. You must submit all the following with this form. Statement must include, please ensure. Okay. Information questions, Privacy Act, paperwork reduction. Okay, so I do not see anywhere here where I cannot do that. So I'm going to go back to my form here. Okay. And you can go ahead and fill it out. And you're going to also have to record her identification information here too. Okay.
So if you
Now,
were, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
So if you were, if the verbiage wasn't correct, so it would be okay to attach your own certificate and
Yes.
cross out what's here and then do the
Yes.
certificate. Okay.
Yes. But remember, you are only allowed to cross out your notarial wording. So be mindful of this. This whole gray box is not all of your notarial wording. You only want to cross out your notarial certificate. So that will be from here to here, because below here is her identification information. Okay. So if you need to, you can go ahead, strike a line through, put today's date, and then you can put, see attached certificate and attach your certificate like that. Okay.
Thank you.
And then not to mention, you don't have enough room to stamp either. Did you notice that? Because you can't stamp over anything.
Okay.
So you end up having to use a certificate anyway. And we already know which one we're going to be using. We're going to be using an acknowledgement. Okay.
And for the bottom portion that belongs to the other person, we would still continue to use that portion, like yeah, to say what identification she gave.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what you will be doing is, I got an echo. Okay. So what you will be doing is, if you read here, identification presented by a legal parent, legal guardian who cannot apply in person with the child. Okay. So it looks like here that James will have to also be present, guys. Okay. He would have to produce identification. So I purposely did that because I wanted to know if you guys were going to stop me and say, hey, it looks like somebody else has to be present. So you can't even notarize this document without James. Did you know that?
I do now.
All right.
No,
So,
you know what, I saw it, but I wasn't sure.
Okay.
Because you had mentioned something about him earlier about as far as a person not being present. But yeah, I mean, I definitely know now.
Yeah, you want to make sure that because you know what? I'll tell you guys, I had a real situation where a parent contacted me. He wanted to do an online notarization. And he was like, okay, so how does that work? So I explained to him how it works because I'm an online notary as well. And he said that he wanted to apply for a passport for the child, but the mother was in another state, but he had the mother's ID. So I said, no, unfortunately, I won't be able to do that. I would need both of you present so that she could present her own ID. And that way I can notarize for you guys. So with you guys being in different states, that's perfect for online notary. I would just need both of you to be available to be a part of the session. And so he said, okay, well, thank you. Never mind. I said, okay. So
is it, I'm sorry.
No, I was going to say, so when you review this document, before you had even took her driver's license information, you would let her know that we would definitely need to see James. Now, what you can do though, because we can do split, you can do split notaries where I can notarize for Jane without James. But on my notarial certificate, since I'm attaching a loose certificate, I have to put on there that I'm acknowledging for Jane only. Okay. So that is possible. And where he would go to get the document done, and it would have to, even if, okay, so for example, what if I did sign for him? I did the notary for him only, right? And he decided that he wanted to fill this in. When he goes to turn this in, they're going to say, where's the notary certificate for him or for her? Oh, I left it. Okay, well, here's your application back. We need a notary certificate for her. So he will still be turned away, but you can do your part by making sure that, well, I'm sorry, I'm going off of my situation. James wasn't available. You can notarize for Jane only. And in your certificate, you need to make sure that Jane is the only one acknowledging. So remember that acknowledgement form that you guys saw me fill out? Let me get it. Hold on. Here. I wouldn't put her in Jane's name. I will put her name here. And where it says here, signers other than named above, you could strike a line through it and you could put your initials and date. So therefore, there is no way that he can have somebody else sign saying that you notarized for him and her. And then if they wanted to attest it, they wanted to get proof in your journal entry, the only person you would have in there is Jane. You wouldn't have James, would you? So this is why it's important for us to keep records and logs of all of our notarial acts, because people like that can and will try to do fraudulent transactions like that because they're trying to get something done and they know the other person is not agreeing to it. Okay. So before you have filled out your journal and everything, your job as a notary is to read over this document. And when you saw that you needed the other parent's information, you could have stopped that whole thing right then and there. You wouldn't have had to fill out any journal entry or anything. You would have said, you know what, I don't have James. So what you can tell them is, like I said, you could tell them I can notarize this for you. And then James will have to have another. Uh-oh, somebody needs to be on mute. Okay. So what you can do is you could tell Jane, hey, Jane, I can go ahead and notarize for you. And I'll attach a loose certificate saying that I notarized for you. But you're going to have another notary witness James' signature. And she might tell you, I'm not going through all that. Never mind. And she may take the document and just go elsewhere. And that's perfectly fine. But you don't want to be responsible for them getting away with that fraudulent transaction.
So
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
So in this document, I'm getting. Isn't James the one who's present and Jane is the one who's not present for the notarization?
No. Make sure you read the document. Where did you read that James was present?
It says 4B, if yes, print name of adult applying with child.
He's going to be applying with child. He's not the one that's going to be signing saying that it's okay. Jane is the one signing that it's okay for James to go with Jordan to get the U.S. passport because Jane is not going to be present. See, look, if you read below here, it says print name of legal guardian who cannot apply in person with the child.
Okay.
That's why you got to read.
Yeah, thank you. I read it, but I misunderstood.
Welcome.
But thank you.
Okay. Yes, you're welcome.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
So it says who cannot apply. So that still would be Jane, right?
Yeah, Jane can't be there. So she's signing the document saying that she can't be there and that it's okay for James to apply with Jordan or apply for Jordan.
So it's Jane whose ID that we're getting and putting in this bottom area.
No.
I done got confused.
Oh, wait. Nope. You're right. I'm sorry. So it would be Jane who cannot apply in person with the child. So you're right. And that's why it's important to read. That's why it's so important. So James is going to be the one applying with the child. And Jane is the one who cannot be there. So we are putting Jane's information here, not James.
So we do not need James present. We just need Jane because she's the one in front of us signing and will not be present.
Yes, you are absolutely right.
Okay.
And see, who was that who asked the question about James and Jane? Who said they were confused about that?
That was me.
Okay, and see, I also got it confused too. See, that's why it's important to read.
Okay.
Because the person that just asked me that, she brought it to my attention. No, it does actually ask for Jane. information.
Yes.
So I will put Jane's information here. I will sign and do my date of notarization, but the certificate, it still does not match the state, requirements. So I will go ahead and see attached certificate. Why are they calling my phone, not Anaya's? And I don't want to pull another certificate out. I don't want to waste my certificates, but I would do my attached certificate, and my certificate would be for Jane. Okay. Let me see.
Okay, so at the bottom, because it's at the very bottom, I just want to make sure we got this clear. At the very bottom,
Yes.
we're gonna put Jane information because it's asking
Mhm.
for the legal parent and legal guardian ID number. Oh Lord.
Yes. And it says specifically in the parentheses who cannot apply in person with the child. And so Jane is that person. See, because right here it says the same thing, who cannot apply in person with the child. So it's Jane. And the person that will be applying in person is James. And she's given James consent to apply for Jordan.
Thank you.
Put here. Yeah, you're welcome. And then her ID number is P1424558.
So then just real quick, so then Jane, the mom, would give this paper to James so that he can take it and be able to apply for their child, correct?
Yes.
But the certificate that would have been done would have been for.
It's still going to be for Jane.
Acknowledging that it was Jane. For James?
It's going to be for Jane. The certificate that you're attaching is going to be for the person who was in person with you, who was present and doing the signature. So that will be Jane. So when you are filling this out, the person acknowledging is Jane. But the scenario that I explained to you guys prior to, it was brought to my attention that this is actually correct. That actually does happen a lot. So you just want to be mindful of that people will, in my situation particularly, my husband's son mother tried to have someone else sign for him. So it does happen a lot. He had a friend he worked with who was going through a divorce, and the mother was planning to take the child out of the state, and she had somebody else sign a letter saying that he gave permission, and she had it hidden in the basement. He just so happened to come across it in the basement, and she was planning to take the child out of the country and just leave overnight and just be gone. So these happen all the time, and we have to be very careful, and we have to make sure we read and understand. And sometimes they'll get frustrated with you, waiting like, okay, what's going on? Like, okay, just give me a second. I have to read and make sure that I am doing what I'm supposed to be doing because this is my commission on the line. Okay. And if they can't be patient with you, don't feel bad about them deciding not to work with you, because once you put your signature and seal on there, that's it. And they don't have to worry about their commission being taken from them. You do. And then you would fill out your loose certificate, and then you will stamp it. Okay. You guys have any more questions about this one? I like this one because this one was kind of confusing. And I'm glad that we were all able to put our minds together and figure it out.
Are you going to provide other type of notarial act forms in the future?
I will try to. Because there's so many with general notary, you literally never know what you're going to get. Loan signings, those are more repetitive to where you see enough of them and you're like, okay, but for general notary, there are always going to be those really tough ones, confusing, different scenarios where you're going to come across like, this just doesn't look right. I mean, you're going to come across some where it's not a form at all. Some people may just want you to notarize a handwritten letter. I had a person, he needed to have someone else from a pawn shop. Someone else pick up his property from a pawn shop because he was going to be out of town. And the pawn shop requested a written letter with his signature saying that he was giving permission to someone else. So you're going to come across those too, So you just want to, like I said, always read, guys, because that's going to make all the difference in what you're doing and if you can do it. And like I said, every state is different. So when you ask questions in the group, always make sure you put your state, because you don't want someone from another state telling you what they can do in their state, and then you get in trouble trying to do it in your state. Every state has their own little particular rules that they want you to follow. So always make sure that you, first and foremost, go by your state laws and not the opinions of people in the group. Okay?
I have a question.
Yes.
On the statement of consent, I wrote a note on the side and it says that I can't do this notary without James. That's no longer valid, right?
It's not.
I'm
sorry.
able to do. Okay. I just wanted to make sure before I crossed it out. Thank you.
I actually have a question about our first notarial act.
Okay.
We used the ID and the passport, but in our journals, we only documented the driver's license. Did we need to document the passport as well? Okay.
Nope. Because you didn't use the passport to identify them. You only used the passport because it was requested on the document.
Okay.
Well, that was fun, guys. I definitely had fun with this. I like doing these because, not only am I, teaching you guys something, I'm learning something from you guys too. And I appreciate that so much. I appreciate you asking questions. I appreciate you helping me to figure out, confusing scenarios like the one we just had. So thank you guys so much for showing up. Usually when I have these, oh yeah, go ahead.
So in Florida, do you all have to be here I'm in Indiana, and here we have to have a title producer license to be a loan signing agent. Is that the requirement in Florida, or do you just have to be a notary?
You just have to be a notary.
Okay, so you could just go right into because I'm thinking about relocating. So you could just go right into being but I have my commission. So I would just have to get my commission in Florida if I relocated there, but I could go right into being signed up with signing services. I wouldn't have to have anything extra.
They want you to apply to be a signing agent through the NNA.
Oh, I have all
That's it.
Then. Okay.
But as far as the extra stuff, we don't have to do that.
Yeah, Indiana's kind of backwards, so they require.
I heard in the attorney states that's required. Is that an attorney state?
No, it's not an attorney state. They just require you to have your commission before you could be a notary signing agent, and then on top of that, you have to get your title producer license, which is another fee and another course.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, it's a lot. So.
Okay. Oh, that's still wrong. I'm supposed to put it. Now, did you guys have any other questions?
No.
I'm trying to remember, not regarding the document, but it's a side question on another video you might have did. You said we can also join our state association or something like that.
Yes. You guys definitely want to look into that and see if your state has a notary association, which many of them do. They just offer more state specific information. Like NNA is really great, and I do like the NNA and all the resources that they provide. But it's been a few times where I've called in and they will tell me something that for my state that I'll later find somewhere else that was not right. And I think it's just really tough when you have association trying to cover all 50 states, you know, because for example, I found in my notary handbook, like I called National Notary Association to ask them about doing a copy certification, because we can do copy certifications here in Michigan. I'm doing a copy certification for an what was it? What is the alien card? It's like is that a green card?
Yes.
I think
Or
so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, they needed a copy of that. And I was looking to see if I could do that, because I know there's certain documents that we cannot do copies for. And so I wasn't able to find what I was looking for. So I called the NNA and they told me that I could not do that. And so I called them back and told them I could not do that. But later on that day, it just kept bothering me. And I was like, I really want to find some information that really tells me. So I looked in my notary handbook, and lo and behold, it told me right there that we can do it. And I'm like, okay, well, next time I'll know, but that's why I stress in the group, please have a copy of your handbook, whether it's a book that you purchase from an association or a notary supply store, or whether it's a printed out copy from your state website. Please have that on hand with you, because you want to make sure that you're able to give these customers the correct information. Okay, because now I have this person going trying to find, because what it is it was saying that it's not easily accessible for them to get to an immigration office, and this is why it is allowed. But I basically told them they need to go to the immigration office. They had to make an appointment. The appointments are like far out, just like with the Secretary of State. So now they got to wait. So I kind of feel bad, but I didn't want to call back and just, I just left it alone. But I know next time that I can do that.
So something that I did, I don't know if everyone have a Office Depot in each state. I'm in Illinois, and my handbook is online. I don't have a place where I could go and get the handbook. So what I did was I went to Office Depot website. I uploaded the handbook to them, and I had them to bind it for me, to do like a
Oh,
wire bind,
perfect.
so that
Yeah.
I'll be able to carry it with me. And I also bought a primer.
Good. Smart. But that's what you got to do. You guys got to make sure. And a lot of questions asked in the group, those answers are in the handbook, and I don't try to be mean or anything, but I want people to use the group for, tips and, ideas, and not so much as your state rule resources, because it's not going to be a good resource for that. All of the notary groups, they're just not good resources for your state specific rules that you can do as a notary. You guys got to use your handbook, and it's not being mean or saying that we don't want to help, but the best way you can help yourself is being knowledgeable on your state specific rules. That's the best thing you can do for yourself. All right, guys, so I'm going to go ahead and close out these screens here. Okay, stop sharing. I will go ahead and open up the floor for any questions that you have that are not related to what we did today. All right, I can see the chat now. Can we try wheels next? Sure. I can try to do that. Let's see. For best practices, do you ask people what pronoun they use? I have not come across that before, Ebony, to where I've notarized for transgender and had to ask them he or she. I have not come across that. Do we need to include his updated address? Yes, you should always put current information in your journals, guys. Let's see, not all states. Yeah, not all states require thumbprints. Let's see if there are any other questions, because I couldn't see any of you guys questions for the chat. Okay, so it wasn't a lot, so I didn't miss a lot. Okay. Okay, did you guys have any other questions for me?
Hi, yes, I do. I wanted
Okay.
to ask, do you offer mentorship opportunities? Because I'm in South Florida, Miami area, so I wanted to see if you offered that.
Yes, I do. I actually had my first face-to-face training with someone. I usually meet in like a Panera because I know they have like the big table space, and all questions can be shared. I always ask, definitely make sure you write down your questions so you don't forget anything.
Right.
And anything that you want to go over, just let me know because I have a lot of stuff. So anything in particular that I need to bring evidence to show you for or walk you through, I want to know beforehand. So yes, I do.
Okay. Thank you. And do you have like a sign up? Is it through a website?
No, I don't. People just reach out to me and they just we just kind of bump heads and see what our availability is, and then I just meet up like that. I prefer to meet up on Sundays because that's the day where I'm just literally usually maybe cleaning or something. Saturdays is my day where I don't want to do anything work related.
Right.
So
Okay.
Sunday, I could do it like on a Sunday, and I prefer like an early afternoon. That way I can come home and still tend to what I got to do for the week.
Okay. Alrighty. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Are you going to have more of these sessions? I know it's the second one, I think.
Yeah, this is the second one. I am. I'm just trying to, because like I tell everybody, I don't do a whole lot of loan signings purposefully because I don't like them. All right, Christina, no problem. I hold on. Let me go ahead and end this. Let me just do my ending. So thank you guys for joining today. If you have any questions, you can leave it below in the comment section. Thank you so much for viewing. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel, and that way you'll be notified of any new videos that I post. Take care and bye.